All right, let's talk about something that could totally change how you argue, for good. We're going to dive into a framework called the 5 pillars of argumentation.
Okay, let me ask you something. You've been there, right? You're in an argument, you've got all your facts lined up, your logic is just perfect, and you still lose. It's so frustrating. Well, it turns out you're not alone, and there's a really good reason why that happens. And here's the thing. It's because a really strong argument is about so much more than just logic. You can't just throw facts at someone and expect them to change their mind. It doesn't work that way. To really, truly persuade someone, you have to connect with them on a different level. It's an art, really.
So let's kind of redefine what we're even talking about here. This isn't just about being right. No, this is about the art of persuasion.
You know what's really cool about this definition is the specific words it uses. It's not about proving a fact. It's the art of providing grounds and a method of convincing someone. See that? The whole focus is on the other person, not just on your own brilliant logic.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. A logical proof? That's a monologue. It's just you, on a stage, laying out the facts. It's totally impersonal. But argumentation? That's a dialogue. It's a conversation. It's personal, it's focused on your audience, and it's all about convincing them. And let me tell you, thinking about it that way, it's a total game changer.
Okay, so how do we actually build one of these persuasive arguments? Well, for the rest of this, we're going to use a really helpful analogy, building a legal case. Let's check out the blueprint.
I mean, think about it, right? A lawyer can't just stroll into a courtroom, drop a stack of papers on the table, and say, "Here are the facts, I win." No way. They have to build a complete, persuasive case that connects with the judge and jury on all these different levels. And guess what? Your arguments are exactly the same.
And these are the 5 pillars, the 5 essential steps to building that case. We've got the logical, the factual, the axiological, and oh man, this one is like the secret weapon. We'll get to that. Then there's the ethical, and finally, the rhetorical. When you get all 5 of these working together, your case is basically unbreakable.
All right, let's pop open the evidence locker and take a look at each of these 5 pillars one by one.
First up is the foundation, the logical pillar. This is the one most of us jump to, right? When we think argument, we think logic. So think of this as the skeleton of your argument. It's the basic structure that makes sure everything actually holds together. I mean, if your points don't connect in a way that makes sense, your entire argument is just going to collapse into a heap before you even get going.
Okay, so once you have the skeleton, you need to put some meat on those bones. And that's the factual pillar. This is your evidence.
This is the hard stuff. The data, the stats, the quotes. All that verifiable information that backs up your claims. Because without solid, accurate facts, that logical skeleton we just built, it's just an empty shell. This is your exhibit A, B, and C.
All right, now for the one I mentioned earlier, the one that might be new to you but is honestly probably the most powerful of them all. This is the axiological pillar, and it's all about shared values.
This is where you find a way to connect your argument to something the other person already believes in, deep down. So for instance, say you're pitching a business plan. To an investor, you're going to talk about profit, right? But to a community group, you talk about sustainability. See? It's the same facts, the same plan, but you're framing it in a way that taps into their core values. If you miss this step, it doesn't matter how logical you are, they just won't care.
Okay, next up is the pillar that's all about trust, the ethical pillar. This is about how you argue. You have to ask yourself, am I arguing in good faith? Am I being honest here? Or am I kind of twisting things, maybe even attacking the person instead of their idea? Because the second your audience thinks you're being dishonest or manipulative, you're done. You lose all credibility. It's like your entire case just got thrown out of court.
And that brings us to the 5th and final pillar, the one that can really seal the deal, the rhetorical pillar. And this one, it's all about your delivery.
And what's so important to get here is that this isn't just fluff. It's not just about sounding nice. This is a strategic tool. Your tone, your body language, the stories you choose to tell, all of that creates an emotional connection. It's how you make the judge and jury, your audience, feel the truth of what you're saying. So, there you have it, the 5 pillars. But what happens if one of them is weak or, completely missing? Well, you know what they say, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
And this is why you lose those arguments you know you should have won. Think about it, you probably had the logical and factual pillars on lockdown. But if you didn't connect to their values, or if you came across as dishonest, or if your delivery was just off, well, you neglected the other 3 pillars. And that's why you didn't connect. That's why you didn't persuade.
All right, time for the closing statement. Here's the bottom line. A great argument isn't a weapon you use to beat someone down. It's a carefully built case you construct to bring them over to your way of thinking.
So the next time you're about to jump into a debate, whether it's in a big meeting or just with a friend, take a second. Don't just think about your fact. Think about all 5 pillars. Ask yourself, which one is my weak spot? Which one do I usually forget? And then, which pillar are you going to focus on building stronger? Because that's the difference between just being right and actually winning someone over.